Welcome back. It is yours truly, Nick of Movie AV Impulse. And today we are going to talk about my top 5 movie cars that if I hit the lottery, I would have these cars replicated or buy the originals, no matter the price. Now, I did want to put together kind of like a combo, like movies and TV shows, but you know what? There are a lot of cars that I love from both TV and movies. So I decided to break this up into an actual 4-part segment because when it comes to TV shows and movies, yes, we all love them, but sometimes it's the car that steals the show. Anyways, before we get started and before we hop into my intro and get into that top 5, Tim over at Tim's Talks Talkies is having another community list from the 90s. You have until the end of the month to get your list in. You can email him, you can DM him on Instagram, and I will leave the video link down below to not only his channel, but the video that will help you in what the rules are. And we are doing a live stream on Saturday, April 8th to go over all of you guys' picks. As a community, we are trying to find out what movies are going to be in the top 25 for the 90s. And let me tell you, I put together my list and gave him my list, and it was a hard choice. It's going to be a really fun and interesting video. I suggest you get your votes in so that you can take part of it. You don't have to make a video. You could just simply send him a list, and you'll see us on April 8th streaming live on Tim Talks Talkies channel. So please take part of this. It's a fun little thing, and he puts together all the information. It's not me, and it's not anybody else that's going to be a part of that stream. It is just him by himself, and he does this often, and it is really fun to get involved when he does things like this because it's just awesome. And it shows like what movies really shine because it's not just one opinion, it's a whole bunch of people. So it's definitely going to be a fun one. Anyways, let's get into my intro, and then we are going to get into my top 5 movie cars. I love these damn cars. And we're back. So before I get into my top 5, I'm just going to say this. There are 2 franchises that I left out because it was way too hard. There are 5 easily movie cars that I would pick out of these 2 franchises. Before I get started, the 2 franchises that I'm going to leave out is Fast and Furious. So that's going to be a totally separate video of my top 5 Fast and Furious cars, along with the James Bond franchise. Now, thanks to my buddy Renardo over at Disc Based Media, he had a box set, an extra one. I ended up buying it off of him, along with him sending me a whole bunch of movies, which I was super thankful for. But I own all of the James Bond movies, so I'm going to easily make that a top 5 video as well because there are so many cars in the James Bond franchise, even though a majority of them are Lotuses and Aston Martins. But let's face it, I mean, they're still gorgeous cars, and especially some of them older ones were just absolutely gorgeous and timeless styling. So I'm going to take those out, and those are not going to be on my top 5 for this video. I also am going to do a separate video for TV cars because it was just too hard. I had like a list of like 30 cars that I wanted to put on this top 5, and then it wouldn't make it a top 5. So without any further ado, coming in at number 5, the DeLorean DMC-12 from Back to the Future. I mean, the first time I laid eyes on this car, especially the first time I seen that movie, my mind was blown. When them gold wing doors opened up, it was just something spectacular. As a kid, I've never seen anything like that. So it was just one of those things where I was like, oh my God. I mean, I think I was drooling at that point. I was just more focused on the car than I was the actual movie until the car wasn't on the scene. But it was just so cool, futuristic looking, and awesome. And preferably, I like the one from Back to the Future 2 a little bit better because they changed the back end a little bit more. But other than that, yeah, that's coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4. Now, when I first seen this comedy movie, the first thing I thought of was, I want to skip school too. But, the one time that I did skip school, my father whooped my ass. So that kind of went out of my head really, really quickly. And the car that I'm talking about is the 1961 250 GT California Spider. That Ferrari is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, to me, when it comes to older cars, again, those styles, those body styles are absolutely timeless. You can look at that car right now and just think to yourself, like, that has never lost its appeal at all. Number 3 won't be a surprise to any of my friends because they know me and they know that Koenigsegg is my favorite hypercar brand and supercar brand. If I had one brand and got rid of every other supercar, it would definitely be Koenigsegg all day long. That guy's vision for cars is just absolutely gorgeous. But the Koenigsegg Agera from Need for Speed, I know the movie gets so much hate. I don't know why. It's not that bad of a movie, so get over it. But that car, when I seen that in the Need for Speed, I was just like, yes! Like, I finally actually get to watch one in a movie, and it's just a beautiful piece of art, machinery, technology, I mean, everything. But my number one dream Koenigsegg is the 1-to-1 because that is just a gorgeous production made car. Just, oh my God, I can't even. Coming in at number 2. Now, I recently, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, rewatched this movie, and then I just rewatched it again last week. But I'm talking about the Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor from the Wraith. That car was just so futuristic looking. I just was mind blown. The aerodynamics on that car, the front end, I mean, Dodge did such a fantastic job, especially for something that started out as just simply a pace car. And they wanted to break the 200-mile-an-hour record, which from what I know, they never actually did with that car. I think it came close. It was like 194 or 95 miles an hour. But anyways, that car, that engine, the twin turbos built on a 4-cylinder, I mean, it's just a remarkable, beautiful piece of machinery. Even now, looking at it now, it's just like mind-blowing on what that car could have been if Dodge actually came out with that car as a production and threw it out there for sale. I really think that car would have sold something crazy, but it cost them so much money in research and development that they couldn't see it turning a profit. So that's what happens. Honorable mention before we go any further, before we get to my number 1, I got 2 honorable mentions, and that's going to be the 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit. You tell me when you first seen that movie that you didn't want that car right off the bat. It's like really timeless the way that car looks. And even now, like if you drive that car around, there's no way you're not getting looks. I mean, that car is just absolutely beautiful. And then Sally Field just being in the passenger seat, such a beautiful woman. And another honorable mention, I know you guys are probably thinking Ghostbusters, but that's not something that really appeals to me. As far as me wanting it, it's cool to see it on screen. It's Ghostbusters, but it's not really my cup of tea. What is, though, is the Lamborghini Countach from the Cannonball Run. Absolutely love that car too. Same thing, when I seen the scissor doors lift up like that, and the girl hops out in the opening scene and she's spray painting the speed sign, and then they take off and you see the I believe it was a Camaro, coming down chasing them. It was just hilarious. So that's another car that I would definitely have in my archive, even though I hear that they're terrible to drive. But I don't know. I don't own a Countach, never sat in one, and never actually seen a real one in real life. I've seen the kit ones, the kit cars, but never seen a real one. Coming in at number one now, if I only had one choice out of all these cars in this top five and these honorable mentions, if I only had one car, it would definitely be my number one choice, and that is the Batmobile from the Batman 89, built on two, not one, but two Chevy Impala chassis with a Chevy V8. You can't go wrong. I mean, it's Chevy, it's a V8. It is such a crazy looking car, especially just seeing Batman hop out, the way that it opened up, how it just slid forward and slid back. That is just a dream car of all dream cars, especially when you were a kid, and I never lost the nostalgia for it. Out of every Batmobile, I don't care what it is, none of them hold a candle to Tim Burton's version of the Batmobile. It is just mind-blowing and gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed. I want to hear what are your top 5 movie cars. Leave out the James Bond franchise. Leave out the Fast and Furious franchise, because those are coming up on 2 other videos. So stick around, and I will see you on Sunday for another Life Lessons.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me. You're not going anywhere.